Hello RC fans, Racing 393 for my second meeting in 2025 with the LMP12 at my local club in Wycombe. So this will only be a very brief intro. On the last race that I did, there'd been a big gap, so it was still a bit of a massive learning curve. I did feel that I was a little bit more at one with the car, not hitting as many things, and I seem to have found like a good base setup that I sort of put my car back to if I'm unsure that what I changed worked or was correct. Do you know what I mean? So you can go back to like a dead base setting that I know would work for now. It's good enough for me anyway, and then I can tweak from there. One of the things that you'll find out in the video is two things actually. Actually, there's three things. Three things very quickly. Number one, I know one of the questions you're asking. Have you got any other colour hoodie than pink and grey? Yeah. I've got a blue one. Yeah, but I tend to... just seems to be these two hoodies that I wear. Number two. Do you know the difference between caster and camber? Yes. Some of the words that I say in the footage you're about to see, I say caster when I'm in camber and camber when I'm in caster. It's not because I don't know. I didn't even realise I said it until I edited it, and I couldn't bother to record it again because it's only a short thing. I knew what I was talking about. It just, some of the words come out opposite. One of those things. Caster is kingpin inclination, camber is the wheel. I do know that. Please forgive me. Number three. I don't know if I've ever run caster on this car. It's not because I didn't know how to do it. I overlooked it. But for the purpose of this video, I am now running caster, which I put into the car, which you'll see. I don't film how I'm doing it. Basically, it's just a spacer underneath the front beam axle, if you like. 0.5mm. So it just tilts the front beam up at the front and standard at the rear and puts the kingpin, well, if I go like that, it's back. It depends if you're looking at me, that's back. And we do some basic setup parameters just so that I know everything is where it should be. Pointing straight. The toe I did as well. At the last meeting, I did it by eye, and it was out. Not by much, but it was out. The body shell is still in good condition, so we'll reuse the same body shell, which is the lightweight bomber. I tend to get a lot of results using that body shell. I bought previously, I've got them there actually, but then they're worn out. A very lightweight bomber body shell, and I found that using that gave the car more stability. So anyway, on to the 1st of April. April Fools for some of us if it's before midday, but fortunately the race meeting is in the evening, so it doesn't matter. If you do a fool's joke on somebody after midday, legend says it that you're the fool. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to the video. Right, we're back on the LMP12. Won't be as much detail because otherwise it gets a bit boring. The next meeting is actually on the 1st of April, I think. That's a Tuesday, if my calendar is correct. So I'm going to quickly summarise what I'm going to do, and then we'll go from there. So on the last race meeting, which was the 4th of March, I made a bit of a boo-boo actually. On this tyre here, is it this? Yeah, this tyre. This one here, I put super glue on the edge. I was trying to sort something out, but what I did, I think I spilt, or it smeared over, so it's actually on the tyre, so it probably wouldn't have gripped very well. And it does say on here that it pushes hard on power. However, I'm pretty sure that could be just the way I'm driving it. Throughout that last race meeting, the only thing I did which made a bit of a difference was what I was advised to do was raise the body shell, so it's not so low on the back. But what I'm going to do for this one is we're going to sort out the ride height. I'm going to use the same tyres. I'm going to try and skim them down a little bit. And one or two things, I'm not running any caster. Only what's the standard caster. So I might add, I'll see what space, well I've got all the spacers, see what space I've got. So if I can add more caster, it will turn in more. I'm not saying I definitely need that, but I'm going to change something, either that or this is a 1 millimeter, a 1 degree caster cake link. I think the next one I can try is 1.5, gives it a bit of caster. I don't know yet. I think I might try putting some spacers under here to give it a little bit more, so that's camber. So either run more camber or more caster, maybe not both. I'm not quite sure which one to do yet. I'll check the manual and just find out which way is the best way to go. I think this wheel's also a little bit buckled, but we're going to still use that. We'll just skim these down a little bit. I've got some chunking on the rear tyre, which is annoying, but still got plenty of meat left on there. Yeah, I don't think there's much else. We'll skim them down, we'll sort the ride height out, and then the front. It shouldn't take too long, but I'm not going to bore you to death with it, but I'll be back when I'm done. Pretty much set up now. Yeah, I've done the tyres, done the camber. In fact, I don't know how long I've been running it like this, and I've always complained of it doesn't turn in under a bit of power. Well, I've not been running. Well, if you've been running camber, it's been very slight, but I've not had any spacers under there and there. So what you tend to do is you run a spacer under there, so it tilts the front beam back. So if you're looking at it like that, it tilts it like that. And they're a bit awkward to get in. I don't know why I find it so hard, but I put 0.5. What have I put under there? 0.5 millimeter under the front, nothing under the back. So that's given you. I don't know how much caster, but you can see it where you couldn't before. If you see the kingpins sort of looking at it like this, sort of laying back, if you like. I've done 20,000 damper weight on the front. Haven't done the back or side yet. I have put a battery in it and done the ride height. The front, I can't read my writing. What's that? What's going on there then? 3.1. So it is a bit low. The front is 3.1 mil and the back's 3.9 mil with the battery. Tyre diameter's all the same. that's pretty much it, really. Why is it? It's not cold, but I'm cold. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's the carpet. Actually, no, I've got to do the toe, haven't I? Yeah, I'm going to have to. I will do that. The next thing to do is to set it up on the sit-up station so that I can get it pointing straight, because I changed these when I was at the track by eye. I think I got it all wrong, so yeah, so the only thing I'm going to have to do is the toe, and then I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, have I got anything else to do? It's for the 1st of April. We're still running 1 degree camber and the 3mm sidebars, and still running the carbon fibre chassis, which is meant to be for outdoor. So the indoor carpet is supposed to have the aluminum, if I can say it, chassis. Same gearing, just the toe. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it. I'll next time I'll see you will be during the track, the racing on the 1st of April. So, yep, I'll finish the rest up. If anything changes between now and then, I'll let you know. So I'll see you when we as we arrive. Right, yeah, I know I said I'll see you when I get there, but it's not there yet. I decided just to try some other sort of setup for this. Now, Schumacher do precision balance pivot set. We need 2 of them, and apparently you can put your car on it and it can tell you if it's in the centre or not. So incidentally, I've got another few things here which I'll show you in a minute, but got a new battery, which this one's going to be used in the new car, the Eclipse 6. I've also got some other bits to show you for that quickly. I've got this one now to put in the car so it's like balanced. Hang on. So at least it's in there weight ready. Now, I've never used these yet, so let's, I won't need that on there. Let's get these open whilst I'm here and see if they're like another waste of money or not. All the gear, and absolutely no idea. So we've got a pivot bush here, which is like that, although I don't think it's going to fit. It does. It goes there, so it just slots into the bottom of the chassis. I didn't know that. So that's it on the pivot things. Now I think the next thing I need to do is put it on the scales. Now, if I've got this right, they should just rest under there, according to the paperwork. Let's have a look. So even if you use the Fly Sky, or no, Sky RC pads, I'm not so sure that that's on them anyway, because you can still spin the wheels. Well, as you can see, we're onto the scales. Well, that's interesting. The side-to-side weight is 50% side-to-side, front to rear, 57 at the back, 43 at the front. total weight 691.2, 57 and 43. Now there's always going to be more weight at the back because there's the batteries there, isn't it? It's in a percentage. Now what I was planning on doing, it does mean that you're going to run this heavier, which isn't a good thing. I've got some weights here. I'm just wondering, can I put a little bit of weight at the front? I mean, should I bother? So I've got the heavier one here, because I don't have to actually stick it on the car. If I put it on the front, where would it go anyway? There. Is it running underweight anyway? What was it? 7? Pretty sure it's 7 something. Why is it so light? 44% at the front, 56 at the back. Still 50-50 each side. I'm pretty sure it's like 725. I did have that information. I know you're probably all thinking, it's such and such. Don't you know anything? I think it's here actually. The minimum weight 730. For BRCA, and I'm underweight anyway. Just going to put that on top. That's 711, 45% of the front, 55 at the back. I don't know. What shall I do? What shall I do? That seems a bit weird. Why would it be lighter? It's still 50-50 each side. If I just put my finger there a little bit, yeah, I can change it. So it does alter. It goes back to 50%. Well, that's now gone to 51 and 49. It's very, very sensitive. That's two weight blocks on there. If I do put them on, is it going to make a difference? And should I put them on? Can't really put them on much else. I think I'm going to put these on, make a note of what they are. 711.7 and these two weights, and we'll call it there. I think that'll be it. So 50% each side, 5 at the rear, 711.7 overall weight. According to this, I don't know how accurate it is. These, well, they're no good, are they? But they're good. Maybe they'll work on a different setup. Although you can't beat the scales, can you? Really. But anyway, right, that's definitely it. I'm faffing about. I will see you. I've got a book in actually at the track. Bet you're probably wondering, did he forget? No, I didn't. So this will be for the Eclipse 6, but I used it for this one for now. So that, I mean, whether or not it's any good or not, we'll see. I know. Or another one of them, transponder. Yes, there's one in here anyway, but it is what it is. That battery's 5mm, and I've got 4mm plugs. I wasn't going to use 5, but it doesn't matter. I've got the adapters here as well. They just slot in. finally knock anything flying. XR10 Pro heavy duty, so that's 120 amp 1S edition. So that's all going into the Eclipse 6, which is up there, and then that'll be out. And we're about to directly compare. We've done a few meetings and with this, I don't know how many, but at least we'll get familiar, I suppose, and then we'll be able to compare it directly with all this. So that's it. That's definitely it. We'll see you there. So a quick night after, before we go to sort of a bit of a debriefing. It's not a bad night. I'm literally just putting the only battery that I did use back into storage charge. Car was going all right. I think although I kind of get the concept now of being able to drive a car quickly, it's certainly not quick enough. But the car, I think, does respond to change. I've started to notice it, but I'm not going to lie, it is very difficult. There's no damage to speak of. I think last time I raced, it was like a damage report. There isn't one this time. It's in pretty good nick. I didn't lose anything. Anything I did was change the tyres. So they're the tyres, wheels and tyres that I had on it initially. They're the ones that Schumacher did. They turned down themselves and they weren't the right size, so I had to sort of readjust them. But the wheels themselves are like a stiffer plastic, so it's more stable, apparently. Now, they got worn to the point where I think it was like 39 point something. So it would have been okay. What I should have done is put ride height shims in the front because the front was too low. I put these on, which were turned down. But then in the final, this is for, and then the ride height at the front was too high. So it was my fault, really. That's just the easy option. Change them easy rather than putting shims. You can't see where they would have gone. They go underneath here, don't they? Sort of. There's no point me showing you know where it is. So yeah, and I didn't do it. I was just being a bit lazy. So what I should have done is shimmed the front, raised it up. Actually, no, I couldn't do that, could I? It's too low, and it's already non-shimmed. So they're probably too worn. But it went better on them than it did on them. So the compound sort of, I think it's 30 SF or something. I don't know, but I've got it. We'll do it in the debrief properly. So that was that. No damage on the body shell either, apart from that split there. You can see sort of there. That was there from last time. Also from last time, which I forgot to repair, but I did a temporary repair, was the back. These typical bits, they split at the back, don't they? So that side and that side. But it held up really well, so that was all right. So that shell can go again. Yeah, we'll go for a debrief of my findings, really. My lap times, laps. I mean, I finished last and I was always laps at the back, so it doesn't matter. But it's just basically I'm racing against myself at the moment. So let me let's change into my normal sort of seated view. Well, that's a wrap. That was the 1st of April. So I thought I'd come in here after the event and we'll go through it of what I did, what I found out, how I did, what I thought. First off, it's a bloody late night for a weeknight. I didn't get home till midnight. And with work the next day, it's like, oh, don't know. As I've got older, I just can't handle that anymore. I wish. I tell you what it is. It's a bit selfish. This remark. It's the bloody packing up. I don't mind helping when I get there because I get there nice and early, and I'll set the track up with whoever and move things, and I don't mind that. That's, you know, I quite enjoy doing that. But packing up, I know you got to do it, But a lot of people went home. I mean, there was quite a lot of people there at that meeting. Mainly the minis. There was quite a few LMPs, enough to split the heats and that. But I've always I mean, I think the first time I was there, I didn't stay, and I felt a little bit guilty, like the very first time I was at Wycombe. So after that, I thought, oh, I'll help. So I think, enough people there, it won't take long. And last time it didn't take long. It was done in. I was home by like just after 11, which isn't too bad. But for some reason, all those people all went home, and there wasn't that many left. And I was getting like, I'm so tired, and I didn't get home till like, say, midnight. And it's just like, oh, I wish I don't know. And then I think, I wish I didn't have to pack up. Other people go home, but I couldn't. I just can't leave it like that. I can't do that. But there might be times when I think I can't stay. I just cannot. It takes me 40 minutes to get there. It's not long, but when you've done a whole, because I did a whole day at work. I say a whole day for what I do, a whole day up to about 3 o'clock. I actually finished yesterday because yesterday was the meeting. And then drove straight there. So it is, and considering the whole day, my day starts at about, well, I'm up at about 6:45. I know there's people at work before then, but that's not the point. But 6:45, and I didn't get home to midnight. I'm like, oh, it's only every 2 weeks though, isn't it? But I can't do the next one or two. This could be a little bit of a gap because just work's just falling in the way. So, and work always has to come first before we play. So, right, let's get that out of the way. Let's go on to the race meeting, and we'll go through each qualifying. I'll show you my times. I didn't film any of that, but I did film the final, and we'll do like an edited version of that. And I also got my notes here. I don't know what I'm showing you. It doesn't matter, does it? So, but I've got my notes of what I did. So first off, let's just look at the first qualifying round times. So a spoiler alert: there's no need to be too ashamed here, Dean. But I was last in everything and laps back. So it's a bit like I've said in other videos, and when it comes to lap time in real life, real cars, full size cars, karts, these doesn't really matter. If you're 10 seconds off the pace, the lap time will hemorrhage. You can easily find seconds, 5 seconds, or even 6 seconds in a lap, easily. It's when you get to those last couple of tenths where you're absolutely at your limit and someone's gone like 3 tenths quicker, and you cannot find that. And you've got the same equipment, keeping things equal-ish. So although it appears that I'm way off, there's a lot of time to be gained. Now, you can see it, so I'm going to read it off here. Excuse me. So the first, all 8-minute races, as if you didn't know, LMP12, as far as I'm aware, all do 8 minutes. I'm pretty sure I'll be corrected if they don't, but that's what I've experienced. So in 8 minutes, I did 39 laps on my first one, and my best 10. So that's like an average of your 10 best laps, I guess. Quite slow, but anyway, 11.45, and my best lap was 10.90. Now you can see the lap times in front of you there are the other drivers are way quicker. I just need to check because I can't see the screen here. So 8.5 second lap. I'm 10 laps behind. Those two, the other two drivers are fairly consistent with each other. I did find occasionally throughout the evening that I wasn't getting lapped as much, where I was keeping clean laps, but I was nowhere near as consistent as I should be. Anyway, so that's the first one. That's Q1. Let's have a look at Q2. So there's Q2. I've improved slightly, so I'm going to read off what you can see. 41 laps. My best 10, 10.96, so that's an improvement. My lap time is a little bit quicker, my best lap time, but it's still 10.51. I'm not as far behind on this one. Without looking, what was it, 8 laps or something? I need to look. So only 7 laps off the second guy there, but they're doing like 8.9 second laps. I'm still like 2 seconds a lap off them. I know it might not be quite as relative as that, but there's a lot to be gained, and I think a lot of that for me is to do with the way I prep, or it's definitely the way I drive the car. But my car, I'll come back to it in a minute, but my car doesn't do what I expect it to do all the time. Sometimes it does, but then it doesn't, and it's a combination of a lot of things which we'll go through. But let's look at Q3. So there's Q3. I've improved. So overall laps 42, so that's one extra lap. Pretty much the same regarding the distance from between me and the other drivers. The leader was going a bit quicker. Their lap times are obviously faster. My best 10.48. I did a 10.07. So I should, to be honest, I should be able on that situation get into an early 9 second lap, 9.5 maybe if I had everything right. So definitely a huge amount to sort of improve, but I'm improving bit by bit nevertheless. Before we look at the final, I did film the final, so let's have a quick look at a very small snippet of me driving around the start and a few bits and pieces, and then we'll come back and look at the results. So here's a little bit of it's a couple of minutes, so we're just doing a little bit of a warm-up before the race. There's only 3 of us. I think there was someone did drop out. There was 4. I think the other group had also 4, so there would have been 8. But it's such a tight track, and there's such a disparity between the quickest drivers and the rest of us. Even without me being on there, the other guys are much quicker than the 2 you see here, other than myself. We've got Mark Stiles is probably world class number 1, and there he is there, just moving my car back where I don't know, I just didn't stop where I wanted to stop. And I don't think he's he's a Schumacher fan, but he's a very helpful guy anyway. So, and I tried to anticipate the start here. I don't know what I was thinking. What's the point? I jumped the start and oh, sorry, Mike.
I'll try anticipate.
What an idiot. Anyway, you can see us going round. My main objective here is to keep clean. My driving lines, ignore them. I think what we'll be looking at is how often am I hitting the barriers, and how smooth is the car. The racing lines will just come with practice. My objective is not to get in the way of anyone lapping me. I've just got to keep out of their way as I hit the end. It turned in there, which is a bit weird. I mean, it understeered there, and we've got young Mike come round us again, so he's going to get round me there. So it's easy to stay wide. But as I was talking to Mark throughout this meeting, this track is just very small for LMP12. He said it's very, very difficult to get a car round there, and that he said it's difficult for him at his level, let alone, in his words, average Joe, which is, I wouldn't say I'm average, or some below average, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I wanted to keep out the way. I wanted to keep my laps clean. I didn't particularly think I drove as clean as I could have done in the final. It, you can see it sort of clipping barriers here and there and one thing or another. But I did drive better in the heat, if I'm honest. And that's the end of the final as I'm talking. So that's the final. I didn't improve. I got a little bit. I think Mike there had a bit of an issue. He actually stopped because he had a problem. So it's not because I went quicker. My lap times and the laps are much the same. So I still did 41 laps. My best 10 was 10.50. That's pretty much the same as the Heat 3 or qualifying 3. My best lap was slightly slower. So I hadn't actually improved at that point. In fact, I didn't drive nowhere near as clean, I thought, but there's not a lot in it. I'm sort of at my maximum at the moment without being like stupidly like unpredictable. At least I'm a bit more predictable what I'm doing. Now I did do some changes to the car, so we'll go over quickly what I did. So when I went out, first off, it was as I set it in the videos you've seen, and I measured the droop, which was I'm supposed to run something like 1 mil of droop. I know it can change, like 1.2. I get it, and that can differ. That depends on the track, but I did measure it. It was 0.6 mil, so wasn't quite a lot of droop there, but it was a bit less than what I perhaps would have run. But I put the tyre juice on, like the Spider Grip. I timed this one, so it went on. Oh, some on my eye. It went on for 10 minutes before I went out. So it was actually on the tyre for 10 minutes, and then I wiped it off. I was listening to some various other LMP drivers who clearly have perhaps do a lot more than they do a lot more than me anyway, and I think they go to some national events, I think, and it was interesting, which I was eavesdropping to be honest, but it's interesting to hear what they was talking amongst themselves. I found it interesting. On the second race, so I had improved. I added more droop, so it's 0.8 of a millimeter. And I put the juice on 2 races. So both of them were mini races, and they're 5 minutes. So as the race went out, I juiced the tyres. That finished. The other race went out, and just as it was finishing, I wiped it off. I know that from what I've been told and what I've heard, that when you put the juice on and wipe it off is critical. But I don't. Yeah, I'd agree, and I think that would make a bit of a difference if I knew. But from my eavesdropping conversation, what I could hear, there was a lot of talk about when you put the juice on the tyres, and from what I can gather, some of them as much as 10, I might have misheard this, but 10, 15, 20 minutes before. But I've also heard other drivers like specifically timing it, so it's like 6.5 minutes or something. So I don't know what to think of that. But I had improved on the second run. Third run, so now did I do it then? Yeah, so I changed the pinion. The pinion I had on this car was what I used at Eastbourne. Eastbourne's a much bigger track. The track we're on is known to be a little bit too tight and technical for the LMP. So I was clearly running. My pinion was too big. I've also heard that someone said about rollout. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it is because do I know? I do know what it is, and I've got an app on my phone which works it out. And I know I'm not nowhere near this from memory, but something like 70 point something rollout for there, which means a smaller pinion basically, so that it picks up and pulls. I was on it's like a longer gear, if you like. So I changed it. I took a picture. Did I take a picture? Anyway, I've got now the standard spur gear, which I think 76 teeth. I will have to check, but the pinion was 40 teeth. I've done the juice on the tyres exactly well, not exactly the same, but pretty much last 2 races. And I did 3/4 of the front tyre this time of the juice because you don't actually cover, from my understanding, you don't cover the whole front tyre, although maybe you do. This is where I got my best achievement. So it did improve. 42 laps, 10.48 best 10, and a 10.07. So, and I did feel at that point that the car was more consistent with what I was doing. I've got on it to check the rollout, which I will have to do that. Perhaps for the next meeting, I'll check it and then go over it with my pre-race. Now, I've got here the details of the final. So, which you've just seen. I changed the front tyres because the front tyres that we're using were the ones that Schumacher did, which you've seen. They had worn down 39.6 and 39.0. It made the ride height just too low. It was below 3 mil. And I thought that's not good enough. And when I put these ones on, they were 42.1. And then it made the ride height too high. I think it's like plus 4 mil or more. And the back was lower. I didn't feel this was a good move. So I should have shimmed the front. And this is where the sort of the tiredness comes into it. I sort of, I wanted to do it. But you know when you think, I could just sleep now, and I was actually there. And that's without all tidying up. But so I didn't do it. So I didn't improve. 41 laps. I didn't drive as well. 10.50 best 10 and 10.31. So my times are consistent with what I'm doing, but I've sort of reached a limit. And the problem being is, I think it's the way you drive them, because my car tends to push on power a lot. I know it could be the pod angle, it could be many different things. But there were times when it went round, because I watched the A final, if you like. I mean, it was listed wrong. There, I think they said it's not the C final, it was the B final. And where I'd been marshalling for the A finalists and the faster drivers, they're on the power a lot. Now they're not. The funny thing is, well, it's not funny, is it? It's not even. The interesting thing is that if I got the corners right and I could power like I was powering in my group, I could stay with the slower driver who was still quick. But it was on the corners. If I powered, it would just push on. But there were times when I was doing it and it wasn't pushing at all. It was whipping round. And I got into a bit of a rhythm. I couldn't work out what it was I was doing differently, because if you think how you drive these cars isn't how you think you should drive these cars. You don't typically power, brake, apex, power, although you do, it's not the same as that. It's a different technique, and I haven't quite got it, because there are times I think that was a good lap, or 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden, oh, that's wide, that's wrong, I'm here, I'm everywhere, and it doesn't stick to where I want it. So a combination of a bit of setup, although it was going better with the lower front ride height and those front tyres and the gearing, I think that did improve. And putting those other tyres on clearly made not a lot of difference, but it should have done. Perhaps if I put the ride height up, it would have handled a bit better. There's something to do with the way that car turns. It could be a Schumacher thing, but the other cars, they turn and grip. So when they, maybe, I don't know, it could be where you're turning too much, or it's exponentially going full lock, so it's pushing. I don't know. But nevertheless, it's very interesting to find out. This is particularly what I like about the hobby. Well, I'm battling myself at the moment, so I'm doing my best to sort of keep out of the way of people and respect what they're doing. But they make mistakes. They hit my car and I've accidentally hit theirs, and I'll do my best not to do that. But anyway, we'll conclude with there wasn't much damage. I learned something. I was fairly consistent with myself. I was improving up to the final. It looks like I realise why I didn't improve more in the final, and we'll take that information on to the next meeting. So the next meeting, I think I'll have to look at the diary. It's not the next 2-week one because I can't do that one. I'm not even sure if it's the one after that. Got a few things I need to sort out. I'll have to. There'll be another video in due course with some information of when I'm next out. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know what you think about these videos. I mean, the thing is, it's a bit like talking to an audience that knows more than you. What it is, they know more than you know about the subject, and that's never a good thing. So I'm literally just voicing my opinion out there and bringing you along on my journey of what I said before is hopefully to improve to a point where I can race against other drivers. It doesn't matter if it's an A, B, C, or D final, whatever it may be, but then I can race against people rather than be like 10 laps or so behind. I am slowly improving. Any sort of input and help will be much appreciated. But for now, that concludes April the 1st. And I'll see you for the next round. Watch out for an update video coming soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.